This is Kathleen's Trodden Trail. Today is Monday, the 3rd of October, and if you hear little clunking noises or chewing noises in the behind you, it's Baxter deciding now is the time to eat his midday meal. So he just decided he was going to eat. We have the special dog bowls that make them work a little bit harder to get their food, or kind of, it makes getting their food a little more interesting. So it kind of has a maze inside, and the food goes, falls into all of those little maze pieces or whatever. And so he tends to push the bowl forward and backward and nose it and play with it a little bit while he's eating. So that's what you're probably going to hear in the background, and I apologize. Anyway, this is not a channel about dogs eating, but it is a channel about my stitching and rug hooking and whatever else I decide to get up to, although there has not been a whole lot of anything else lately. So it's been way more than a week, which I think it's just pointless for me to say, oh, I'll be back in a week or I'll be back in 2 weeks, because, life happens and then I don't come back. I would like to film like short little 15-minute videos every week. That would be ideal, but that just doesn't seem to happen. So anyway, I think it's been about a month and I'm back, and since I've been gone, I have decorated for Halloween. Anyway, Halloween is up, and I will have either at the end or the beginning or both inserted some pictures of some Halloween decorating, including one FFO that I finished just this last week, and I don't have here with me because it's already up and it's too big to kind of get down and shuffle over here and show you. So I'll just insert a picture of that when we get to it. But in the meantime, let's just get right onto it. I don't really have too many life updates. We had, animals are all doing fine. I cannot remember if I talked to you about the 5 feral cats that we have living in our barn. We had Orange Tabby come to us, I don't know, midsummer sometime, starved and dirty, and we fed him outside a few times, and then he just decided he really liked our garage, and so he was gonna hang out in our garage full time. And then about 2 weeks later, a solid black, very emaciated, turned out to be female cat that looked a little bit younger maybe than him, but had clearly given birth to some kitties, came to us, and she was extremely emaciated, extremely starved. And so we immediately took her in and started feeding her, not in the house, but at that point they were in the garage. So I got them into the vet and had them checked over, and other than having some like ear mites and just some, kind of normal stuff for 2 cats that had been abandoned or grown up outside or whatever had happened to them, they were in both really, really good shape. Super friendly, super sweet, both of them. And the day after I took them all to the vet, the mama brought us 3 kittens. So turned out to be 2 black boy kittens and 1 calico female kitty. And so it has been, we've now had, all 5 of them have been into the vet, all 5 of them have been vaccinated, and Mama and Dad have been spayed and neutered, and then the kitties will get spayed and neutered here at about the 6-month mark. But so they're living in the barn. They're going to be our barn cats. We have Bitsy in the house. Bitsy does not enjoy other cat friends. She's fine with dogs. She gets along well with our dogs, but she does not enjoy seeing those cats even outside. So it's not like we could bring them in and really introduce them to her, but they have a nice big warm in the winter, cool in the summer barn to live in, and they'll be just fine down in the barn. And we go down at least once a day, if not twice a day, and hang out with them. And the kitties are a lot of fun. And if I think about it, I'll try to insert some pictures here. And you can see how cute they all are. And everybody's filling out nicely, and now that they're getting regular meals, and so that's kind of fun. Had one little chicken kind of thing happen several weeks ago. One of our chickens either scratched her eye herself, which I could see happen because they do, bring their feet up just like dogs do, and cats, and kind of, they'll scratch their face or ruffle their feathers, or, whatever. Either she did or somebody accidentally pecked her. But she ended up, chickens have two eyelids, and kind of an inner one and an outer one. And she ended up tearing, or one of the other chickens, or maybe the rooster, ended up tearing her inner eyelid. And so for several days we were putting drops in it, and I was kind of attempting to see if I could pull whatever was in there out. It looked like maybe a tiny piece of bedding, and it kind of kept getting worse. And she clearly had started to fever a little bit. I could tell she was a lot warmer than she had been, and she was getting I wasn't really seeing her eat or drink much, and she was getting very lethargic. And so after calling about 5 different places, I knew that our vet would not see her, and they don't do chickens. Apparently chickens are very complicated. I'm so sorry. Apparently chickens are very complicated, and most, traditional small pet animal vets don't do birds. I think of it, maybe just not chickens. I don't know if they do other, types of birds, but so anyway, but our vet recommended another vet, and they wouldn't have been able to see her for several weeks, and they recommended another vet who's way on the other side of town from us. But we went out, I called, and they were able to see her that morning. And so I put her in a laundry basket, and didn't know quite how that was gonna, don't really have a carrier for a chicken. And so put her in a laundry basket with a, towel on the bottom and a towel over the top. And she did absolutely just fabulously in it. She's a very sweet chicken. Her name is Margaret, and I call her Margie for short. But she took her out to the vet, and he was lovely. And, he was like 10 years old, honestly. How young, really? How young are these people? I'm amazed at how young, all the professionals are getting to be. But anyway, he seemed very young. I'm sure he was not as young as he seemed. But he was just wonderful. He was so good with her. I kind of prepared myself on the 40-minute trip out there that, they might make a little bit of fun of me for bringing a chicken into the vet, but they did not at all. And they were kind and lovely and very gentle with her. And he ended up having to do a little surgery. And so it ended up being that she ripped that inner eyelid kind of in half. And so he ended up having to just remove that entire inner eyelid. And gave her a little bit of a sedative and a little bit of numbing, and did it there, and I was able to take her home then, maybe like an hour later. And she was pretty lethargic for a couple of days, but I had eye drops, and they had given her a shot of antibiotics. And then we had some eye drops to put in her eyes 3 times a day for 10 days, and we did that. And that again, she's the sweetest girl. She will let me pick her up. She does not run from me. She, will sit in my lap. She's just a sweet girl, and she always has been. She was from our second group of chicks that we got this past spring. So she's only about 6 months old. And, but it was hard getting drops in her eyes every day, and she didn't particularly care for that. And so she's just finally starting to open that eye and keep that eye open. And you know, it doesn't look great. I mean, it's not, there's no infection or anything, and she's back to eating. She's not lethargic anymore. She has tons of energy. She's her spicy little self. Um, but I don't know if the eye will continue to look better or if this is kind of just how it's going to look now. But at any rate, and I don't know if she can see out of it. And I didn't even think to ask, you know, the vet, well, you know, can she see, or if he would even know if she'd be able to see out of it long term. But she seems to be just fine and gets around just fine, no problem. So we had that. So that was interesting. And there's always, you know, you always feel like you'll learn a ton of things. While I was at the vet, he had me take pictures of the bottom of her feet because the bottom of her feet looked so good and were so healthy. And he said the next time you have a sick chicken, you can compare the bottom of their feet to the bottom of her feet. And he said, this is how we know that, you know, she has been in good shape until she had this little injury, that she was, you know, she's well fed and she's getting the right combination of vitamins and minerals and all of that kind of thing. And they do get supplements, and they get lots of things that are good for them and healthy for them, and organic food and all that kind of stuff, because you know what they say, you are what your chickens eat, right? Because if you eat the eggs, then, right? So it is important to feed them good food, and we've always kind of done that with all of our pets. So anyway, but they're still lots of fun, and really enjoy them. And I did watch an article the other day that the avian flu might be rearing its ugly head again, and so we may have to put an end to free ranging. They have a huge pen, though, that they can that they're in, you know, throughout the day, as well as a really nice sized chicken coop. So again, if I think of it, I'll insert some pictures of the chickens and little Miss Margie, and you guys can see her if you're interested. Okay, it's 15 minutes, so hopefully I'll cut a whole bunch of that and you won't even have to listen to me blather. But let's get to some finishes. I have been stitching a lot. However, I have been stitching on a little bit of this and a little bit of this and a little bit of that and a little bit of that. And so I've kind of been shaking it up every day. I have had some finishes. So let's just start with a few. And I've been trying to do, I've done a combination of things. I've had a couple of small finishes of just tiny little smalls, and then that were new charts that either freebies or, you know, just really inexpensive small charts. But I've been trying to work on old whips. And so I've really been into working on Halloween and fall. And so anyway, that's kind of where my stitching has been, and maybe just a little bit of Christmas, which I'll show you in a second. So this is my first FFO. This is a chart by Priscilla and Chelsea, Stitching with the Housewives. I can't remember what it's called. I feel like it's Charlie something, but anyway, it's on their Etsy. It's in their Etsy store. And you know, this is one of those charts, and most of their charts are this way, I feel. First of all, I saw this in the chicken and the pumpkins, and I knew I had to stitch it. And I'm pretty sure I didn't really use the called for colors. I just used what I had that was similar. But I'm pretty sure she was Charlie, or whatever this chicken is. I mean, I'm going to say she's a girl. I'm pretty sure it was black. It was charted in black. And I have 4 black barred Plymouth Rock chickens. And so, and which they're black with quite a bit more white in them, sort of mixed in with the black, but that's okay. This kind of gives the idea. So, so this just turned out really cute. And then I got this and a whole bunch of other similar wood pieces. It's just a wood piece, kind of thick. It was a pumpkin. I added these 2 pumpkins up here, but it already had this little felt leaf on it. And I got it at Walmart, and it was, I took the price tag off, but it was like $3.99 or something. And it probably said, it did say something, and it had sort of a burlap something with then some words over it. And so I just left that on there, and then just took a piece of cardboard and kind of traced out a similar shape and put batting down and put this, you know, on the cardboard, and then mounted it on here. So just a simple, easy, quick finish. And this goes, I have a long bowl that I keep our eggs in as I bring them in every day. And that goes, kind of sits there next to that bowl, and it looks just as cute as can be. And then just this morning, I finished this piece. This is called, I think it's called Spooky. And it is by Salt and, oh, is that right? This might be by White House Stitchery on Etsy. I can't remember. I bought 3 haunted house charts. I love a good haunted house. And I think this is by White House Stitchery. And I kind of covered up. You can't really see the spooky down here in the spider webs. And then I got this piece at Michael's the other day, and all of their Halloween, and I don't remember if their fall stuff was 50% off, but all of their Halloween was 50% off. And this was originally $16.99, so $8.50 or whatever. But and then I added the 2 felt pumpkins, and those are from the Felt Pod on Etsy. I bought those last year. I really need to get some new ones for this year. And so then I just mounted this on a piece of cardboard with batting, covered another piece of cardboard with the spider web fabric, and then on the back of it, I put a piece of wool just so the back would be nice. And hot glued it to this. And I think that looks really, really cute. It kind of looks like it's another spooky house in the neighborhood, and you know, just really matches. Okay, another interesting thing about this piece though is this orange. So when I was at, let me think about this. No, before I went to Michael's, because I think Michael's has quite a bit of DMC. But Walmart only has like 3 or no, more than that, but maybe 10 different DMC colors, and you never know which colors they'll have. They usually have ecru, they usually have 310, sometimes they have blanc, and then just kind of an array of other colors. And Hobby Lobby is a good 30 to 40 minutes for me, depending on which one I want to go to. And I really just, the other day, I needed some colors for this. I needed some Halloween DMC colors. And I just did not feel like going all the way to Hobby Lobby. And I thought, well, I'm going to go to Walmart and see what they have. And so one of the things that Walmart is now carrying, and maybe they always have, is a Coats and Clark cotton, 100% cotton thread. I might not be telling you right. It might be 50-50. It might be 50-50 nylon and cotton. I can't remember. But anyway, it's a thread. It looks just like DMC. It comes in the little wrappers. It's wound just like DMC. And they had a whole pack, like almost like a kit, or you know, a whole pack of Halloween colors or fall colors, I think they were. And so they're much brighter than I normally would stitch with. But I thought this orange would work. And then I also used, Walmart was out of 310. And so I also used the black from that package. And I think a whole package was like 10 or 12 different skeins. And there were like 2 blacks, 2 whites, 2 oranges, you know, a couple tans, whatever. And I think it was, I want to say like $4.99 or $5.99 for the whole pack. So now, what did I think about it? It wasn't bad. It wasn't bad to stitch with. I don't sew with Coats and Clark thread. I used to. Well, when I was growing up, the lady that taught me to sew lived up the street, and she was an older lady, and that was what she sewed with, and she recommended, and she taught me. And so I used to always sew with Coats and Clark. And then I found out that Coats and Clark really gives off a lot of fluff and a lot of, you know, it's a very, oh, I can't think of the word, but you know, it just gives off a lot, and it gets kind of shredded almost. So there was a little bit of that, but I really liked the coverage. So this is 2/2 on 32 count, and I really liked the coverage of the black. I mean, that's really, really decent coverage. And you know, I thought for something small like this, so the tree is in, I think it's in 30, what is that, 3771? The really dark brown, kind of milk or dark chocolate brown. And so that's in DMC. And then the house, even think the door's in DMC, but the house and the roof are in that Cokes and Clark. And you know what? I would do something small. I wouldn't do it on an heirloom piece. I wouldn't do it on a big piece, and I probably wouldn't use any smaller of a fabric. So I probably wouldn't use like a 36 or a 40 count fabric, because I think it would really shred that. It probably has to do with how it's wound. So, anyway, just something to think about if you're in a bind, or, you know, just have a small project and you just need um, just a little something, you know, just a little bit of thread. It's worth, I think it's worth trying. So anyway, I thought that was a really, really cute project. And then I was talking to my friend Colleen, and she one day, oh, maybe a month ago or something, and she was telling me that she had been out to see Julie at Reflections because there was a chart that she had seen, I think, on somebody's Flosstube video, and that she wanted to do. And I said, well, what chart is it? And so she had gone out to Julie's to see if she had it, and she didn't, but she was going to order it for her. And I said, well, what chart is it? And she said, oh, it's that chart by Barbara Anna, I think it's called The Witch, the Crow, and the Pumpkin. And I said, oh my gosh, I have that, and I think it's like pretty close to being done. And I said, let me know if Julie can't find it, you know, can't order it, because I'll finish mine up and you can have it. So I pulled it out, and I wasn't nearly as close to being finished as I thought I was, but I got to work on it because she hadn't heard back from Julie yet and didn't know if Julie was going to be able to order it. And I thought, well, I told her I would be finished with this and she could have the chart. Well, Julie was able to order it. Colleen bought it from Julie. That was fine, but I did finish it. And so I'm going to insert, this is the one that is too big to show you. When you see it, it's on a huge shutter with a bunch of, with pumpkins and, oh, it looks like wheat stalks and corn stalks and all kinds of neat things and a bunch of bows. And I didn't do any of that. I bought that piece at a little shop in Blair called Tie It With a Bow. And Ty happens to be the last name of the proprietor, and Annie Tighe, Tighe. And then her shop is called Tie It With a Bow, which I think is so clever. But she just rescues old pieces of furniture and, you know, window shutters and mirrors and all kinds of fun stuff, and does sell some things just as is. But then she also fixes them up and sells them for decorations. And so I went into her store looking for, I was originally had in my mind that some kind of a tray, that I could mount this piece on some kind of a tray. And when I saw this shutter, I knew that this would work. And so all I did then was so this is the piece that has the pennies, the wool pennies all the way around. And those took a little while to sew on, but not a big deal. The chart has the pattern for the pennies and tells you how to do it. And, you know, it's super easy, but just a little bit time consuming. But I love that look, and that's the thing that really attracted me to that piece to start with. This was one of my oldest whips. I think that I may have bought this chart 5 or 6 years ago, and, you know, got going on it and really enjoyed it, and then got distracted by something else and never finished it. So I'm super glad it's finished, and I will insert a picture of it here. I was really proud of this piece. I think it turned out really nicely. It's a beautiful chart. It's a lovely piece. Stitching takes a little bit longer than you would think, especially the crow takes a little bit of time. But, and I stitched it all in DMC, all with the called for, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I'm pretty sure everything was called for. And, oh no, I changed the witch's face. The witch's face was done in some kind of white or ecru, and I changed it to a little a floss, and I don't remember the number, but a floss with just a little tinge of green in it. And so I just wanted her to have, you know, a little bit of a green face. But anyway, oh, and so this piece is sitting up on top of a cabinet that has all of my cross stitch fabric in it, and it's just a narrow cabinet that I also bought at Tie It with a Bow, and I just think it looks so cute up there and just kind of perfectly complements my Halloween decorating. So, okay, other than that, and I know I'm talking really, really fast, I have another finish, but not an FFO. I'm sure you guys have seen this. Kathy Haberman, Hands On Design, had a Halloween mystery stitch, and she released it, I think, in 3 or 4 parts, Labor Day weekend. And so I feel like it was maybe like Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, or Saturday, Sunday, Monday anyway. And this is mostly all in the called for, and then just on a piece of, I need something behind it. I guess I'll just use this. On a piece of fabric that I believe is from Kitten Stitcher, Teresa Vinette. I think this fabric is called It Isn't Easy Being Green. And it's just the greatest piece of fabric, you know, kind of a grungy green with these purple splotches on it. Just perfect for this piece, I thought. And so I know you guys have seen this. Tons of people did it. It was a really, really fun stitch. Super easy. Again, Kathy's another one that does charts that are, you know, small but mighty. I mean, she just packs a whole lot of punch in, you know, the eyeballs and the little bird. I mean, the little bird is only a few stitches, and then, you know, one little, I don't know. There's a lot to it, right? Even though there really isn't much to it. And so then, kind of as a bonus, she recommended, and she had kind of told us about this part beforehand, she recommended that we get some perforated paper and some scrapbook, well, some stamp die. So the die that comes in the little pads that you put the stamp on, and what is that? I can't even think of what that's called, but you know, the die that comes in the little pads, like the old-fashioned die that we used to use in offices to stamp, you know, paperwork or whatever. And she told us what colors to get, and she got hers at Hobby Lobby. And so she had us then basically take those pads of dye, a purple, lavender and green were the 2 colors, and stamp the perforated paper that came in white. So it came like this, and then we stamped it to give it this color. Like, who would have thought of this? I would have never in a million years thought to do this to perforated paper. And then 4 characters, I've only done 1 in the beginning of a second one, but 4 little characters. It's like a witch, a cat, a Frankenstein, and I don't remember what the 4th one is. And then you stitch those on here, and then you can do something with the arrangement of these with this. I've seen all kinds of cute things. The cutest one maybe that I saw was someone had actually cut these out as figures and gave them little stands, and then stood them up next to this, which was really cute. Like, this was framed, or this was on an easel or whatever, and then she stood them up. That was really cute. I think Kathy shows these almost as bunting, you know, maybe like above this or something. I mean, there's no limit to what you could do and the fun stuff that you could do, and I really haven't decided. But anyway, I need to get the other 2 or 3 characters done and finish that up. So that's just really cute, and that was a fun stitch, and that was just a really easy, you know, Labor Day weekend, kind of gave us something fun to do and what have you. And then I am a member of Fox and Rabbit Patreon, and Karen has put out a Halloween Advent calendar, which I was all over. The second she said Halloween Advent calendar, I was like, yeah, I'm doing that. I mean, Halloween, and then a calendar, and then an Advent calendar for Halloween. I was all over it. So I'm not sure if I'm allowed to show this or not. I think I can show you what I've done so far. I think that's okay. So she's releasing 1 block a day, and so we're already to the 3rd day. But I'm behind, so which will be no big surprise. It has this really complicated kind of candy corn border that's just too cute to leave out, even though it's not complicated. It's just a lot of counting, and so in my mind it's complicated. And actually, once you get the first little block of whatever color in, then you're not really having to count. But it was complicated to me because this one was like black, yellow, orange, white, and I started doing this in that order and figured out that this was black, white, orange, yellow, and so I changed it because anyway, silly things. And then this bat is no joke. I've had to take this bat out like 3 times because I miscounted. But that's just really cute, and I really enjoy that. And it's fun because the little blocks, and even though I'm behind, the little blocks don't take all that much time to do. And then if you do 1 block a day and do a little bit of the border every day, essentially you could have it done by the end of October. And, wouldn't be able to enjoy it this year, but could enjoy it then for next year. And then another release on the Fox and Rabbit Patreon, which everyone talks about. It's so worth the money, whatever level. And there's, I think, 4 different levels you can choose from. And it's completely... I had a haircut today, and I don't know, it's kind of driving me crazy. She does such a cute job, but then I was out in the wind, and then I constantly am messing with my hair. So I can't think of what this is called, and I downloaded the PDF, so I don't have a picture of it, a paper copy of it. But it's a haunted something house, and I think it's only available to Patreon members. The chart itself is. And I don't know if eventually those will be, available to everyone, or if they'll just always be exclusive to Patreon. I'm not really sure. But I got to start on that, and it looked like a pretty, it's not really that big. It's a fairly small chart, but there's a lot of stitching to it. So this house has a very subtle... like individual bricks, checkerboard effect. And so that takes a lot of time. And then, even the border has 3 different colors in it, and it goes all the way around. And so I worked on it quite a bit this weekend, but it's taking a good amount of time, but it's a really, really cute chart. And I don't know, this year I've just been really, really into haunted houses and wanting to do haunted houses. And then I decided after I finished The Lion, the Witch, the Wardrobe. Oh my goodness. The Witch, the Pumpkin and the Crow, or whatever that one is called, by Barbara Anna. I liked the idea that I had gotten a really old to me chart finished. And so I thought, okay, well, let's go see what the next oldest Halloween chart is. And it is, I believe, October by the Cricket Collection. And the picture, I think this is a prime example of the picture on here doesn't do the piece justice. But when you see them done, and somebody was working on this, it may have been, she normally does full coverage. She's from England. She's a young gal. Why can't I think of her name? I can picture her. Anyway, I saw this finished, and when you see it finished, it's just like, oh yeah, I want to do that. I want to get that done. So I've kind of been working on this really just since last night. And when I started it, I had very little done. The Cricket Collection charts are no joke. There's a lot of backstitch, relatively speaking. And there's just, there's a lot to them. And so I think what happened is, this is one of the very first charts I bought when I came back to cross stitch. And I'd never done anything this complicated. And so I think it overwhelmed me a little bit, and I put it away. And now now I feel like, oh, okay, I can handle it. So that's the middle O of October, and the moon will, comes out here. I have to finish the fill in of the house and the rest of the O, and then there's some trees that go on the side and some leaves, and then I can either go one way and work on the B or go the other way and work on the T. So I would like to get this done. I have a space up here by the door. You might be able to see it. I'm going to move you just a little bit. Do you see the thankful up there above the door? I have a hooked piece that goes up there for Christmas that I love, and I've been trying to, and then I have one for spring, and I've been trying to always have something up there that's stitched, but I found that thankful piece just like at Hobby Lobby or at Walmart or something, and I thought it was really cute, and it kind of works up there for right now, but I need a fall piece to put up there. And then, like everyone else, I follow Vanna Pfeiffer, everything. I read her blog, I watch her YouTube videos, I'm friends with her on Facebook and Instagram. I mean, I'm always looking to see what Vanna's up to, and I like to be just like Vanna, which I have a long way to go. But she showed, and I think just on like Facebook or Instagram or something, she showed these two booklets by Leela Studio, and they are I kind of call them the ugly sweater charts. And one is obviously Noel in blue and Noel in red, right? And I thought those are perfect for finishing for my kiddos this year for their Christmas ornaments. I really considered, that one is so cute with the little polar bears. Oh. I really considered not doing ornaments for them this year. I really, really thought about it. And I couldn't talk myself out of doing ornaments for them. I don't know why. My girls and I, so Caitlin and I for the last several years have exchanged 3 handmade ornaments just between the two of us every year for the last several years. And this year we invited Maddie to join us now that she's out of college and, is just working a real job. We're like, now you have time. And she said, yeah, I have no idea what I'll do, but I'll definitely, I'll participate. I'll do it. So this year I have to make 6, and I think I'm going to do a felted wool ornament. I have some patterns for some really cute felted wool ornaments, but I just thought these were super cute, and I thought, I could do one for Caitlin and Caleb, one for Ryan, one for Maddie, and I already kind of have, I think I have picked out. I started on this one, and yeah, it seems to be going pretty fast. What did I decide to do? Did I decide to do it on perforated paper? I cannot remember now what I decided. Oh, I have it right here. Oh, I thought about it because Vanna had talked about potentially doing these on perforated paper. No, I just started it on a regular piece of linen, 32 count linen. And so that's just my very, very rough start with that. Okay, that's kind of what I've been working on. I have been doing some rug hooking. Last spring or maybe early summer, I bought a couple of, 3 new Halloween rug patterns. And two of them are round, and one of them is monochromatic, so it's kind of spooky forest, all in black, and then the background is orange, and that's the one I'm working on now. And then the other one is kind of a Halloween town around the bottom of the circle with the witch flying across the top. And they'll both work really well. I could either hang them or they'll just work really nicely as table toppers. You'll see in my pictures that I insert either at the beginning or the end. One of the first rugs I ever made is a little pumpkin guy and holding a lollipop, and very Halloween-y. And I have that just across a chest that's in our family room, and it looks really cute. And so I like doing rugs across small, you know, surfaces. Um, but I'd like to get both of those done. And then I have a witch to do that I would like to finish. And then I have, several years ago, I started a nativity scene rug that's probably 4 feet long by 2 feet wide, tall. And it's the whole, you know, it's the wise men walking to Bethlehem. It's the stable and the baby Jesus and Joseph and Mary. And I mean, it's the whole, and it was the designer, Pris Butler, drew it for me personally. I mean, she had drawn other nativities, and we talked about it, and I told her what I wanted, and she's an amazing artist, and she did this for me, and I want to finish that rug. I started in a class with her, you know, like in October or something, and then I was working on other things and didn't finish it, and so I want to go down to the barn and get that out, and I would really, really like to finish that up. So yeah, so just, you know, just working away and having fun and doing all the stuff. It's been beautiful here. I just noticed some red on some trees out there that wasn't there yesterday. And so that's very exciting. But yeah, it's just been beautiful. Like we've had upper 70s, low 80s. And I think we have a couple more days of that, and then it'll cool off into the 60s pretty consistently for the next couple of weeks, and that's just fine with me. But we've had nights getting into the 30s, and the chickens are just so happy with these temperatures. They're all, pretty much all of them are really more winter birds, so you know, they're pretty comfortable even with pretty cold temperatures. They don't like the heat. They have too many feathers, and they're too warm for the 110 degrees that we had this summer. So it's just so fun when you walk outside in the afternoon and it's like 75, and they're just clucking happily, you know, by. They're just so happy with the mild temperatures. So, and so am I. It's awesome. So I hope you're having wonderful weather wherever you are. And getting lots of stitching in, and I would love to say that I'll be back in a week, and maybe I will, but if not, I will talk to you when I talk to you. Take care, guys. Bye-bye.